The universe is filled with ghosts. Not the kind that haunt abandoned houses, but phantoms far more ancient and far more elusive. They are particles, born in the agony of dying stars billions of light years away. They travel through the void of space at nearly the speed of light, passing through galaxies, stars, and planets as if they were nothing at all. At this very second, billions of these spectral messengers from the depths of the cosmos are piercing through your body, leaving not a single trace. They are muons, cosmic rays. And it is this invisible, universal rain that has allowed us to peer into the heart of one of the greatest mysteries on the planet. Inside a structure that has stood under the scorching Egyptian sun for 4,500 years. The Great Pyramid of Giza. For centuries we have studied it. We have broken into it, measured it, scanned it, mapping its every known corridor and chamber. We thought we knew it. We were wrong. Beneath 6 million tons of stone, in absolute darkness, the ancient builders hid something not meant for the eyes of the living. It was not a tomb. It was not a treasury. They hid a void. Vast. An inexplicable anomaly, comparable in size to an 8-story building, sealed within the very center of the monument. It appeared on no map. It was mentioned in no ancient text. Its existence contradicted everything we thought we knew about the architecture of the pharaohs. This is not merely the story of another discovered room. This is an investigation that forces us to ask far deeper questions. Was the Great Pyramid only a tomb? Or was it something else entirely? A complex mechanism, engineered for a purpose we are only just beginning to comprehend. What were the ancient builders hiding so desperately that they created for it a perfect prison of stone? And why might this void, this nothingness, be the single most important discovery in the history of Egyptology? Prepare yourself. We are descending into a rabbit hole of limestone and granite, where the laws of 21st century physics collide with the genius of the 4th dynasty. To understand how this secret was unlocked, we must leave the dusty passages of the pyramid and journey into the world of subatomic physics, into the realm of the unseen. Our story begins not with picks and shovels, but with the quiet hum of servers and sophisticated detectors developed in the leading scientific centers of Japan, France, and Egypt. The project, named Scan Pyramids, was one of the most ambitious attempts to look inside the ancient monument since the day it was built. The idea was simple in its concept, yet breathtakingly complex in its execution. To use a natural phenomenon, cosmic rays, as a gigantic celestial X-ray machine. Imagine. Far across our galaxy, a star explodes. In the heart of a colossal cataclysm, protons and other fundamental particles are born, hurled across the cosmos. Some, after a journey of millions of years, reach our world. They plunge into the upper atmosphere and in a flash of impact, give birth to a cascade of secondary particles. Among them is the muon. The muon is a heavier, unstable cousin of the electron, its existence measured in fleeting microseconds. But as it travels at nearly the speed of light, Einstein's relativity performs its strange magic. Time for the muon slows to a crawl. This borrowed moment is all it needs to slice through our atmosphere, to pass through our bodies, and even to penetrate deep into the Earth. As they pass through matter, muons leave a story embers. A void, or a less dense space, allows them to pass through almost undisturbed. If one places hypersensitive detectors on one side of an object, the universe itself becomes the source of illumination. By counting the muons that arrive, a picture forms. Where many particles pass, there is likely emptiness. Where few arrive, there is a dense, monolithic core. This is muon radiography. The Scan Pyramids team brought this cosmic vision to the Giza Plateau. Scientists from Nagoya University in Japan deployed specialized nuclear emulsion plates, a kind of high-technology film that registers the trail of each passing particle. They were placed to collect the evidence. French engineers from the CEA, the French Alternative Energies and Atomic Energy Commission, used gas detectors to track the trajectory of muons in real time. It was a painstaking, methodical process. Day after day, week after week, an unseen rain of trillions of particles pierced the Great Pyramid, each one leaving its infinitesimal trace in the data. Computer algorithms sifted through this colossal harvest of information, slowly, voxel by voxel, constructing a three-dimensional map of the pyramid's internal density. Then, in 2017, after 2 years of collection and analysis, something impossible began to emerge on their screens. The density map revealed an anomaly, a vast, elongated shape of lower muon absorption. It was located directly above the Grand Gallery, the sloping corridor over 8 meters high that leads to the very heart of the pyramid, the King's Chamber. This anomaly, this phantom in the data, was immense. At least 30 meters in length, its volume comparable to a passenger aircraft. And according to all of history, it was not supposed to be there. Not a single blueprint, not a single explorer's account through the centuries had ever hinted at its existence. It was utterly isolated. No visible entrances, no corridors leading to it. The ancient builders had placed a ghost inside their monument, a void sealed away from the world, a secret held not in stone, but by the very absence of it. A message left not for us to read, but for the universe itself to reveal. They had found an impossible space, a vast sealed chamber entombed within the stone heart of the monument, as if a giant bubble of air had been trapped at the dawn of its creation. The world of archaeology was thrown into turmoil. An article in the prestigious journal Nature landed with the force of a seismic charge. What was this void? Was it the forgotten burial chamber of Khufu, a secret sanctum that millennia of tomb robbers had failed to find? A hall for arcane initiations, host to rituals of which we have not the faintest conception? Or was the truth far more mundane? A colossal relieving chamber, a stroke of engineering genius designed to protect the ceiling of the Grand Gallery from the hundreds of thousands of tons of stone pressing down from above. But if so, a chilling question remained. Why was this one, and only this one, so meticulously concealed? The 5 relieving chambers above the king's final resting place have been known for centuries. They were never hidden. This emptiness, officially designated the Scan Pyramids' Big Void, became the greatest enigma of Giza in the 21st century. But to grasp its potential meaning, one had to journey back in time, to gather the other, older clues the pyramid had been. Long before the advent of muon scanners, the most perceptive researchers suspected the official map was incomplete. The very architecture held hints, strange asymmetries and dead ends that refused to conform to the simple blueprint of a tomb. The Big Void gave a new generation of Egyptological detectives reason to reopen them. Our investigation takes us deep inside the pyramid, to the so-called Queen's Chamber, a space with a gabled ceiling located precisely beneath the King's Chamber. It remains shrouded in mystery. Despite its name, no queen was ever laid to rest here. From its northern and southern walls, two narrow shafts ascend into the darkness, each a mere 20 by 20 centimeters. For generations, they were dismissed as simple ventilation channels. But in 1992, a German robotics engineer, Rudolf Gantenbrink, dared to challenge that assumption. He constructed a miniature rover, Upuaut 2, the opener of the ways, and sent it on a journey into the southern shaft. The world held its breath, watching the grainy images transmitted from the robot's camera. Centimeter by agonizing centimeter, the machine crawled upward through the perfectly straight, lightless tunnel. Then, after 65 meters, its headlights met a barrier. It was a smooth limestone slab, a small, sealed door, and on its surface, two copper fittings, resembling handles, or perhaps contacts. It was the first time metal had ever been discovered used in such a context within the pyramid. What was this? A symbolic gateway to the afterlife, through which the soul was meant to pass? Or a physical barrier, hiding what lay beyond? A decade later, in 2002, a new expedition drilled a tiny aperture through the door. A camera, pushed through the opening, revealed a small, empty space, and on the far side of it, another sealed door. The Great Pyramid does not easily surrender its secrets. For every layer we peel back, another, more inscrutable one lies beneath. Each answer only begets a more profound question, echoing down through the corridors of time. It is a monument built not only of stone, but of silence. And we, the inheritors of this silence, are left to wonder if the greatest chamber of all is not one of granite, but the vast, uncharted space of what we have yet to understand. A rougher stone slab blocking the passage. The mystery had not been resolved, it had doubled. The pyramid seemed to be toying with its explorers, presenting one riddle after another. It was proof that its internal structure was vastly more complex than ever imagined, and that the concept of hidden space was part of its original, silent design. We now ascend higher, into the darkest, most inaccessible chambers of the monument. Above the ceiling of the king's chamber, itself composed of 9 colossal granite monoliths weighing a combined 400 tons, the ancient architects left a secret. 5 low, relieving chambers. These are technological voids engineered for a single purpose: to displace the crushing, unimaginable pressure from the funereal chamber below. Into these cramped, dark spaces, some no taller than a single meter, no human was ever meant to enter after construction was complete. But the workers were there, and they left their signatures. Preserved on the walls and ceilings are dozens of inscriptions, painted in red ochre. They are the markings of the construction crews, priceless testimony for historians. We know their names: the Friends of Khufu, the Drunkards of Khufu. We even know a precise date: the year of the 17th cattle count, a reference to the 17th year of the pharaoh's reign, and one of the single greatest pieces of evidence linking the pyramid to Khufu himself. Yet among these prosaic work notes, one stands apart, shrouded in mystery. A phrase scrawled on a block that reads, "Those who keep the secret." For decades, Egyptologists debated its meaning. Was it merely the poetic name of a proud work crew celebrating their role in a great project? Or was it something more? A direct statement that these men, simple stonemasons and laborers, were party to an architectural secret locked within the very stones they laid. With the recent discovery of the Great Void, that ancient phrase has taken on an electrifying new resonance. What secret were they keeping? Could it have been the colossal hidden emptiness they themselves were sealing off from the world, leaving behind a coded message for posterity? The third clue is not a physical object, but the philosophy encoded in the pyramid's geometry. Many researchers are convinced that this is no mere tomb, but a model of the cosmos, a resurrection machine. The shafts extending from the king's chamber, unlike the dead-end shafts in the queen's chamber below, were aimed with incredible precision at specific stars. The northern shaft pointed to Thuban in the constellation Draco, which, in the age of Khufu, was the pole star, the motionless, eternal center around which the heavens revolved. The southern shaft targeted the belt of Orion, a constellation the Egyptians associated with Osiris, lord of the afterlife. The design was a sacred schematic. It was meant to provide the soul of the departed pharaoh with celestial pathways, star roads to guide his spirit on its journey into eternity, to take his place among the gods. It was an architecture of belief, a bridge built not only of stone, but of starlight, engineered to conquer death itself. Here, architecture transcends construction. It becomes ritual. Every corridor, every chamber, every orientation is imbued with a sacred meaning. What if the great void is not an absence, but a presence? A deliberate part of this cosmic mechanism? A waiting chamber for the soul? Or a symbolic space representing the Duat, the ancient underworld? Its secrecy, its profound isolation, is not a flaw in the design, but its most essential virtue, a necessary condition for its holy function. All the clues, the sealed doors, the mysterious inscriptions, the precise stellar alignments, began to assemble into a single, vast mosaic. It spoke not of a primitive tomb, but of an impossibly complex, multi-layered object, a kind of architectural enigma. And the great void was its largest, most vital missing piece. For nearly 6 years, it remained a phantom, a ghost haunting the digital scans of physicists. But in the year 2023, an unprecedented decision was made: to touch the ghost. The question was no longer what was inside, but how to get there. For 6 years, the world's finest minds wrestled with this dilemma. The Great Pyramid is not a mere pile of stones. It is a treasure of world heritage, a fragile organism that has survived 45 centuries. Any crude intervention, drilling, blasting, dismantling, would be an unforgivable act of vandalism. A method was needed that could peer inside while leaving almost no trace. The solution came not from archaeology, but from the frontiers of high technology and medicine: endoscopy. If a surgeon can perform a complex operation through an incision mere millimeters wide, why could the same principle not be applied to stone? The idea was to locate a natural seam, a joint between the colossal blocks, and through it, drill a miniature aperture. Into this opening, a flexible probe, equipped with a camera and light, would be introduced. It was a task at the very edge of the possible. They had to find the perfect location. And they found it. Just above the official entrance, the one famously forced open in the 9th century by the Baghdad Caliph al-Mamun, lay the original sealed passageway. Guarding it was a powerful relieving arch, formed from giant blocks set in a distinct chevron pattern. It was here, in one of the mortar joints between these megaliths, that the operation would commence. March 2023. An international team assembles on the Giza plateau. Egyptian archaeologists, Japanese engineers, French physicists. The atmosphere is electrified. Every step is broadcast on a closed circuit to a select group of specialists. The most delicate phase begins. A custom drill, its tip coated in diamond, is cooled by a steady stream of water to prevent overheating and fracturing the ancient stone. It is brought to the chosen point. Slowly, it begins to turn. Millimeter by agonizing millimeter, it bites into the limestone, boring not just through a structure, but through an epic. With each rotation, it closes the distance on a secret held silent for 4,500 years. A whisper from the dawn of history, waiting to be heard. In a silence measured by millennia, modern science held its breath. A drill, finer than any tool known to the fleet builders of Ramesses II, bit into the ancient stone. Operators, their eyes locked on a constellation of monitors, tracked every subtle change in vibration, every fractional shift in temperature. One unseen fracture in the massive block, one miscalculation, and the entire endeavor could collapse into ruin. The hours stretched, thick with anticipation. Then, a sudden drop. The pressure gauges fell to zero. The drill had passed through. The way was open. Now came the journey into the unknown. An endoscope, a cable as thin and flexible as a finger, tipped with a high-resolution camera and a powerful bead of light, began its descent. On a large screen in the command center, an image flickered to life. At first, only blurred shapes, stone dust, the grit of ages dancing in the solitary beam. The cable inched forward, and suddenly the wall was gone. The camera broke free from the narrow channel into open space. It was inside the mystery. For the first time in 4,500 years, artificial light illuminated a space born in and for absolute darkness. Across the globe, dozens of people leaned closer, their breath held captive. This was a moment of pure discovery. The first images transmitted were shocking, not for what they revealed, but for what they did not. There were no mountains of gold, no painted sarcophagi, no statues of gods with eyes of lapis lazuli. There was not so much as a single shard of a clay pot. The space was primevally, perfectly empty. The camera panned slowly, scanning its surroundings. It was a corridor, roughly 9 meters in length and a little more than 2 meters in width and height. The walls were composed of massive, roughly hewn limestone blocks. There were no hieroglyphs, no paintings, not even a trace of plaster. Only the raw, naked stone, bearing the tool marks of its ancient masons. But the most astonishing feature was above, the ceiling. It was not flat. 2 rows of enormous stone beams converged at an angle, forming a powerful, gabled vault. It was a classic stress-relieving design, instantly recognizable to Egyptologists, a structure engineered not for beauty, but for brute strength. Its sole purpose, to withstand the colossal pressure of the masonry above, redirecting its impossible weight into the side walls. This corridor, officially designated the North Face Corridor, was an expression of pure, unadorned engineering. It was never meant to be admired. It was built to perform a specific, technical task. And in that stark emptiness, that coarse finish, lay the key. This was never a secret chamber in the way we had imagined. It was a construction artifact, a ghost of the building process, forever sealed within the body of the finished monument. It was not a room for a king's soul, but a silent, eternal testament to the minds that dared to build a mountain. To comprehend its purpose, we must return to its position. It lies directly above the pyramid's original entrance, a void suspended over the colossal chevron blocks. The installation of these multi-ton megaliths angled with geometric perfection, was an engineering feat of staggering complexity. The question has always been, how? How were they lifted and held in place against the immense forces of gravity until the structure could support itself? The most compelling theory casts this newfound corridor not as a chamber, but as a tool, a temporary workspace, a platform carved from the pyramid's own mass, giving the builders the leverage and support needed for their Herculean task. They would have built this passage, used it as a fulcrum to set the chevrons below, and then, its purpose served, it simply became obsolete. To dismantle it would have been more perilous than to abandon it. And so, they left it. The entrances were sealed, and construction continued its relentless climb skyward. It became a construction scar, an invisible imperfection entombed within the monument's flawless geometry. This theory seemed to explain everything: its location, its raw finish, its very emptiness. It was simple, logical, elegant. Yet it left one critical question unanswered. If this corridor was the anomaly detected by science, why did the initial muon scans point to something far larger? A great void, some 30 meters in length. The discovery of the 9-meter corridor was not the end of the story. It was a new and far more intriguing beginning. Reality, it turned out, was more complex than the first interpretation of the data. A more detailed analysis revealed the big void was likely not a single monolithic cavity, but a complex of anomalies. The corridor is merely one part, perhaps the largest and most distinct, but beside it may lie other voids, perhaps simple gaps between the giant blocks, or even an entire system of interconnected spaces. The mystery was not solved. It had merely transformed. But even if this passage is only a technological remnant, its discovery fundamentally alters our perception of the pyramid's creators. It reveals the Great Pyramid not as a static mountain of stone, assembled to a perfect, unchanging plan, but as a dynamic structure, one that evolved during its own creation. The master plan could change. Its engineers encountered unforeseen problems and improvised brilliant, unorthodox solutions on the spot. They created temporary internal structures, ghosts of the construction process, which were then consumed and absorbed by the growing body of the monument. The pyramid now stands before us as an intricate mechanism, filled with F-cables, pipes, and service shafts. Invisible to the casual eye, yet utterly essential to its existence. With each secret it yields, the monument proves not how much we know, but how much is still concealed within the stone, waiting for a future that can finally ask the right questions. A new power is being brought to bear on the ancient world, the power of non-invasive archaeology. An international collaboration of scientists has proven that the greatest discoveries can be made without disturbing a single grain of sand, without harming the legacy of the past. Technologies once designed to explore the cosmos and heal the human body have now become the key to unlocking the secrets of the pharaohs. It is a model for all future exploration, from the tomb of China's first emperor to the lost cities of the Amazon. But the most astonishing revelation is this. While one team of scientists gazed into the heart of the Great Pyramid, another discovered that even greater mysteries may lie hidden, not within its stone walls, but deep beneath them. As the world's press debated the void discovered above the Grand Gallery, just a few hundred meters to the west, an equally profound investigation was unfolding in the silence of the Western necropolis. This is a vast city of the dead, a sprawling cemetery where the entire elite of Khufu's age lies buried in rectangular tombs known as mastabas. Archaeologists believed they knew every inch of this sacred ground. Yet, amid the densely packed city of the dead, there was a strange, empty square of earth. The question was baffling. On this prime, hallowed land, why was no one buried here? A joint Japanese-Egyptian team resolved to scan this anomaly using ground-penetrating radar and electrical resistivity tomography. These methods act as a medical ultrasound for the Earth, sending electromagnetic and electrical signals into the deep, then analyzing their reflections to map the unseen world below. The results surpassed all expectations. Just beneath the surface, the instruments rendered the clear outline of an L-shaped structure filled with sand. Its perfectly straight walls and right angles left no doubt it was man-made. But the true revelation lay deeper. Beneath this initial structure, at a depth between 3 and 11 meters, the tomography revealed a second, far larger anomaly. It was a region of abnormally high electrical resistance, a telltale signature that typically indicates a large, dry void or a chamber of highly compacted material. The scale of this deep anomaly is immense, no less than 10 by 10 meters. What is it? An unknown tomb, so important that its entrance was meticulously filled and concealed. A subterranean temple? Or could it be part of a complex infrastructure, one connected to the construction of the Great Pyramid itself? Scientists now theorize the L-shaped structure may have been a surface building, or perhaps an entranceway, leading down into this buried complex. This finding, made almost concurrently with the discovery of the corridor inside the pyramid, paints a single, staggering picture. The Giza Plateau is not merely a collection of surface monuments, it is an iceberg, the vast majority of which may still be hidden, waiting beneath the earth. Ensynian priests, legends of giant subterranean galleries and halls beneath the pyramids, repositories for the knowledge of a civilization that came before. For centuries, these accounts were dismissed as myth. But what if they were not myths at all? What if they were memories? What if we stand upon the threshold of an entirely new Giza, a subterranean world whose existence we have only ever dared to imagine? The unsealing of the North Face corridor, the detection of a vast anomaly deep beneath the necropolis. These are more than mere points on an archaeological map. They represent a fundamental shift in our understanding. This forces us to reconsider the very nature of the Great Pyramid. It ceases to be a simple tomb. It emerges as something far more complex, a multifunctional apparatus, an engineering miracle, and perhaps a key to even more ancient mysteries buried deep within the earth. This is a testament to tireless human curiosity. It proves that even the most scrutinized monument on the planet can still yield surprises that overturn generations of belief. In the 21st century, the great discoveries are no longer the domain of lone adventurers. They belong to international consortiums of scientists, armed not with whips and hats, but with the language of quantum physics and the logic of complex computational algorithms. And yet, the greatest lesson delivered by these newfound voids is one of profound humility. We, with our orbital satellites, our supercomputers, and our artificial intelligence, can only stand in silent awe before the genius of a people who, with little more than copper chisels, rope, and an inconceivable force of will and intellect, erected a monument that has guarded its secrets for over 45 centuries. The Great Pyramid has not yet spoken its final word. It waits, patient and silent. It waits for new technologies, new ideas, new generations of explorers bold enough to ask the questions once again. What else lies hidden within its stone heart? What is the true purpose of the vast, silent voids? And what awaits in the chambers that may lie dormant beneath the plateau itself? The answers are not yet known. Each discovery is not an end, but the beginning of a far deeper inquiry. The story is not finished. It is being written right now.